It has just gone a touch after 8. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8, which by Eswatini TV. I'm Sadbo Ngona. I'm with Nomaklabe Zongambole. I'm coming to you live from the Hospital Hill Studios in Babane. For your top stories at 8, let's dive straight into it and take a look. The People's Parliament commenced at Eswatini residence following His Majesty's call for the nation's submissions at Eswatini. Eswatini have made their submissions during the People's Parliament as per His Majesty's command. And the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Communications and Technology, Pesha Dube, says the country is committed to enhancing internet exchange strategies. Welcome to it, and now for the news in detail. We'll begin here. The People's Parliament commenced at Eswatini residence following His Majesty's call for the nation's submissions at Eswatini. The People's Parliament started with the submissions of the elected panel on advising the King on appointing the Prime Minister of the 12th Parliament and contributed on recommendations on how the country can be developed in various sectors.
Following His Majesty's commissioning of the People's Parliament, Eswatini started on contributing their submissions during Sibaya at Eswatini residence. The Ingwenyama gave Eswatini permission to contribute on the appointment of the right candidate for Prime Minister and also consult on issues affecting their way of life. This is also a platform for every Liswati, irrespective of religion, color or gender, to air their views about the future of the country, economically, politically, socially, and otherwise. After making their way into the Kettle barrier, Eswatini started contributing their submissions. The panel included former Cabinet Minister and former Eswatini Ambassador to the United Nations, Matendele Dlamini, who spoke mainly about instilling and teaching about Tinkundla system in schools and decentralization of government services.
Lolunyawo lokubusa ngetinkundla alimanange lwavela nje, kepha Ingwenyama yathumela emabandla ngemagqiliba kuya etigodzini uyothola ukuthi ingqondo ithini yekubusa nokuphathwa kwalelive. Ngakho ke sidinga singeMeswati sihlale siqaphele ukuthi uma kuqhamuka imimoya lena lengathi mhlambe sibambelele kukwakadzeni, lengathi mhlambe sibambelele lokungekho kulamanye amave kubo first world. Sine kwethu kwekuthi ngetinkundla siyawulakha lelive, ngetinkundla siyawuphemba nemnotho kulelive.
Ngwene, Member of Parliament, Skhumbuzo Dlamini, made contributions on youth employment and empowerment.
Silo sikhulu kuthula kulula Ngwenyama. Kuze kuthi benekuthula eveni, kufuneka ukuthi labantu labala eveni baphile ngcono. Silo sikhulu emakhaya sive sakho Ngwenyama silambile, sifuna imisebenzi. Insha sekukhulunyiwe silo sikhulu ukuthi itile elukhethweni yaphuma ngetinombolo. Kodwa lokukhulu silo sikhulu kude lemisebenzi.
Mbabane West Member of Parliament Jane Similane contributed on the role that could be played by women in development of the country.
Bakadzekile ukuthi nabo bafake isandla ekuthuthukiseni lelive lakithi laKangwane.
Appointed Member of Parliament Thulisile Dladla also made her contributions on what is expected from the Prime Minister to be elected by the Ingwenyama and also on the different pillars of governing the country.
Lesingakucela silo sikhulu ukuthi akube ngumuntu lothanza lelive, aphinze futhi ati ukuthi lelive libuswa kanjani, aphinze futhi asithanze lesive njengaloku emakhosi ethu asithanza kangaka.
Another speaker was Hugwini Member of Parliament Alec Lushaba, who encouraged Eswatini on loving and embracing what is theirs instead of wanting to welcome what belongs to other countries.
Onke mave la khona nalasabitwa ngemagama abo first world nabo bani ngemave latitsandzako kutitsanza ke ngiloko ukuthi ungabuki nasithombe sakho lapho khona utikhanza uswace khona noma ujabha khona kuze kuthi sititsanze kuyofuna sibuke lokuhle kwethu.
The Attorney General Sifiso Khumalo highlighted and elaborated on the number of women expected to represent women in Parliament.
Kusike masekukhethiwe kukhethwe iHouse of Assembly kwasephinze kuyakhetha kuya-appointwa House of Assembly nase Senate bese kuyabukwa ukuthi ingabe le nombolo yalabahlonishwa bomake bayafika ni 30%. Ake ngibekise nje ukuthi nangabe tinkundla ting 59 sekuthi kunema appointees ang 10, that makes 69. So yabuka ngala ukuthi cha ema senators umthetho usakabe ngi30, that is 99. So yabala ku 30% of 99 uyabuka ke nombolo yabo make ukuthi ingabe iyafika yini kule percentage lekhulunywa ngayo. Nangabe ingafiki ngulapho ke lapho invoke khona le section lekungu section 86 we constitution ukuthi cha nyalo sesingaya kuma regions siyobuka labo make kuba ngilaba labaluzile labe banominatiwe baluza akuqaleli phasi kusengumuntu nje lomusha. You must have participated and lost.
The public at Esibayeni had an opportunity to pose questions to the panel that was making submissions during Sibaya. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia at Lutsitini Rural Residence.
Emaswati have made their submissions during the People's Parliament as per His Majesty's command. Now, this was during the Sibaya that continued at Lutsitini Rural Residence.
Kwakuthi ngoba nang hulumende wetinkhundla sesithi gawulile yetinfungo letinfungo titinhlobohlobo tetihlahla ingabe lukhona iluhlelo lelu ongoing lelingemi ligcine lelicapacitator labahlonishwa kuze babe semkhumbini munye libe ongoing ngoba lokho kuyawusita kokuthi kube nalabo performance appraisal if lama duties nalama responsibilities and now and then ayabuketwa now and then lelithubo lelikhulu liyakhona lokuba nale instrument ngoba lesikubonile sibone lamalunga sewungathi sa editha le constitution instead kwekuthi bayowakha umthetho. Ngilapho nje la ngibuda khona ukuthi kukhona yini lokuluhlelo leli capacitator nangilobuye emaphoyiseni longithishela longibanibani lesa simnikete ingwenyama ngokuthi ayosebenza ngaye kuthi limqola qole lapha nalapha throughout lo 5 years and kube nalokunotsha lapha ngale performance appraisal. Yewani kubonakale umuntu ukuthi wendani eParliament. Ye2 bathi bayofika lena banglo 59 babe sebangaholi malinye ngale performance appraisal.
Tinkundla tilimele kakhulu ngekungafundziswa etikolweni. Ngwenyama phakamisa swephu khale kulabantu laba laceleni kwakho. Bangalo batositshela ngecharacter inkosi njena ninikwe ini kanini nikothi niyoluleka ini inkosi
loyo mhlaba nemhlaba nelive iyawutakhela kwayo njiko nje namhla sila sikhuluma ngetinkhundla lo prime minister lesicela ukuthi asibekele yena okandaba akatati tinkhundla siyakwati ukuthi itolo sididwe belungu basisusa emnyombeni wethu wokuhamba yemihambo nekuhola emave ethu labanye bethu bakuthengile lokho namhla ngiko sihlukahlukene nje silive.
Sicela ukuthi loyo ndunankulu ngwenyamanduna kube ngumuntu longasibukela kuloko. Kodwa lengicila kuko kakhulu ukuthi akhone kudisciplina icabinet because icabinet ibese imalapha bayibite eParliamente ingayi kube bede labakwendako.
Ngidocela iministry yabomake bomake bantu labasimise emakhaya bantu labangalali nangabe kukhona umntwana olambile ngisho namakhelwane. Prime Minister ngwenyama lotasinike yena aze aside ahambe ayasebenza indzaba yabo PS bo PS asebabuyele lokuba ku contract ngoba ngicishe ngithi nginesiqiniseko sokuthi imisebenzi ngathi emandla lamakhulu akubo PS nawubuka lo monakalo lo la kuma ministries captain wakhona ngu-PS
bothishela solo bayaphotfula nalamuhla kodwa solo kunabothishela lasebacetse bo 7-8 weminyaka solo bahlede emakhaya indzaba yabo ayivakali indlela yekucashwa kwabothishela asikhona iconza sikwendakala kanjani nalamuhla basakhicidwa kodwa bahlede emakhaya. Ngiyashiyana lapho kungumbuto ukuthi engabe labasibukelele lo tiko basentela kanjani.
Sihambile ke saya kilo tiko letemfumvu sayobudisisa ukuthi kwendekalani. Basitshela bathi indzaba lenkulu kakhulu abakhoni nabo kusicasha. Sicela kuwe silo sikhulu ukuthi umane uzivulele lo mnyango bafana beMaswati bahleli live liyahlupheka nathi mabasibhadalela bebabheke ukuthi emakhaya sithuthukise live nempilo ichubeke. Ngiyabonga.
Ngakuta ukuthi asinikete nathi bantu bakhubatekile sikhwamo sethu lokuthi bafuna ukucala ibhizinisi ukhona ukuyicala ibhizinisi bokhubatekile kungabi lo mncabelekelwane losetulu lokunye nemali yethu sayicela lembashe sinetwa ingwenyama ukuthi bacela sikhulise
ngithi Maswati ngiyaqoza kule democracy yethu inkundla ngithi asisiyekela Maswati lamahle singakhohliswa ngema democracy ekuhamba niyawabona bekunene bona labongqoshishilizi bema democracy kuthi kulatinyanga letiphelile kwentekana kuphuma tibhamu letinganani khona kulawo mave lanabo democracy kuthiwa ahamba embili ngedemocracy. Sibona kubulawa abantu labangenaqala. Sibona kubulawa wonke umuntu longanaqala. Hawu Maswati ngiyanicela asisukuya lapho. Asisukuya asihambeni ngalolunyawo. Lesanikwa inkosi Sobhuza.
Nasibuka izinyana ngibathe ngiyalibuka ngiliboni. Lizinyana sikalo nika bogogo ngalali bembesa. Kepha lekithi alifiki lezinyana lakho Mbangazini. Ngiyacela Mbangazini izinyana lembube. Angiliboni lezinyana. Hawu zinyana lembube. Wabo ngapho sengahlala lemonene egedeni ngoba sengivile ukuthi uhlalaphi. Ngidocela zinyana unyathele zinyana lekaBhenkosi.
Members of the public say the ongoing People's Parliament should address, amongst other things, issues of unemployment, salary increment as things have become more expensive, as well as the increase of elderly grants. They were speaking to the news crew at Mbabane.
As the People's Parliament is ongoing at Lobamba and Emaswati have been given the chance to speak out and voice out their views on some of the issues that the 12th Parliament and Cabinet should work on. The news crew spoke to members of the public in Mbabane on some of the critical issues that need to be addressed.
Kungakhulunyiswa kakhulu lenzaba ye-drugs shortages nekuswelakala kwemisebenzi.
Sinyalo kumele ngabe ema-first days labhekwa lusenangenile. Kepha ngetinkinga tekuthi kube netinkinga teti-scholarship nani.
Some touch on the issue of high unemployment rate, especially amongst the youth, where job creation has to be the answer. Some say government must make available access to scholarships to avoid students or children loitering around shops falling trapped to the use of drugs and some falling pregnant. Some touch on the issue of the increase of the elderly grant and the availability of drugs in hospitals. It is their wish to attend the Sibaya and voice out their views as the week progresses. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi, Mbabane.
The Principal Secretary at the Ministry of Information Communications and Technology, Pesha Dube, says the country is committed into enhancing internet exchange strategies. The PS were speaking during a SADC Internet Exchange Point Peering Forum hosted by the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Annually since September 2020, the SADC Secretariat has been convening the SADC Internet Exchange Point Peering Forums as a regional platform for the implementation of the SADC IXP project. This year's meeting was officially opened by the Principal Secretary at the Ministry of Information, Communications and Technology in the Kingdom of Eswatini.
We pledge our commitments as a country to the development of programs and digitization strategies that the Southern African community of nations has embarked on. The SADC IXP Peering Forum holds a special place in our hearts. It represents a convergence of aspirations and a collective commitment to innovation.
Eswatini Communications Commission Chief Executive Mvilawempi Dlamini made welcome remarks.
The SADC region has made progress in several key areas related to IXPs and the migration from IPv4 to IPv6. This forum provides an opportunity to align on regional IP6 transition strategy and roadmap to advance IXPs.
SADC Program Officer for ICT, Chisepo Lungu, said the project is set to enhance internet exchange for all SADC member states.
Our ultimate goal is to enhance the internet ecosystem in the SADC region, and this implies that no member state should be left behind.
The 4-day meeting will also provide guidance on the implementation of the SADC positioning paper on migration for IPv4 to IPv6. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Siwekoza with Zikumbuzo Dlamini, Ezulwini.
The government of the Kingdom of Eswatini notes the unfortunate incident in which a member of the public, once Busiso Dlamini, had the microphone grabbed from him whilst making his submissions during the second day of the Sibaya People's Parliament at Eswatini residence. The government wishes to assure the nation that the only reason that the microphone was grabbed from Mr. Dlamini was because the time allocated to him had elapsed and had nothing to do with the contents of his submissions. The nation will note that a number of Emaswati were looking forward to getting their chance to make submissions, hence the reason minimal time was allocated to each speaker. Government further wishes to assure the nation that the Sibaya People's Parliament remains open to every Liswati and interested individuals, including the international community, as per His Majesty's proclamation during its opening. Therefore, all views presented at Sibaya remain valid and worthy of consideration. We wish to encourage Emaswati to continue flocking to Sibaya to express their honest and genuine feelings about the issues affecting the country. The statement is by government spokesperson Alpheus Omalo. Moving right along, the Central Bank of Eswatini has promised to strengthen monetary policies to ensure Eswatini continues to grow its economy. The governor, Dr. Philip Nisi, said this when sharing the resolutions of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund governors meeting, which was held in Morocco last week.
As Emaswati meet at the People's Parliament at Lutsitsini Royal Residence, one of the main topics is the importance of growing the country's economy. The central bank has said Eswatini's economy is growing stronger and the inflation has continued to stay lower compared to other global economies. The governor, Dr. Phil Nisi, further gave details of the IMF World Bank meeting in Morocco.
The projections were that we should be growing at about 6.8%, but indicators now are saying global economic growth is at about 3%. And this is a major concern that was recognized. The second one is the geopolitical issues that are causing strain and uncertainty in supply chains, especially in emerging economies and developing countries like ourselves, who are dependent on these countries for inputs and imports. So, for example, the war on Russia, the war of Russia on Ukraine, now the tensions that are happening in the Middle East, all these are aggregating to pose more strain on economic growth. The third one is that the climate change issues are now creating more uncertainty, and countries are now compelled to find ways and means on how to deal with these issues of climate change.
The governor says they will continue to monitor the global economic performance to ensure Eswatini is in a better position to deal with any unpredictable events. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Linda Dlamini, Mbabane.
The Royal Science and Technology Park says it will work hard to improve and upgrade the elections app to ensure more efficiency and data capturing. This has been said by the Communications Officer Senzo Malaza after His Majesty King Mswati III's speech when he thanked the Royal Science and Technology Park for the app.
During the opening of Sibaya on Monday, His Majesty King Mswati III commended the Royal Science and Technology Park for establishing the elections app. The Communications Officer Senzo Malaza says this presents a new challenge to them as they are prepared to do better in the next elections.
We have already started working on how we can improve the app, its deliverables. What we had invested our time more on was its functionality and its being easy for everyone to use and access. But we are already working on, should there be by-elections? We want to see improvement, not only wait for the 2028 general elections, but we believe that we are working on improving that. And the data capturing and updating is definitely one of those concerns that we are already working on addressing. On the local government elections, we believe that there's no business that is small for us. So it is also a business that we are ready to assist in. As earlier stated, we are mandated with assisting the country develop, particularly on the IT space and the technology space in general. So we are ready and willing to assist with the local government elections.
Malaza says their hands are open as they are prepared to work even in the local government elections. He says in the previous elections, over 100,000 people were able to download the app. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Linda Dlamini, Pokweni.
Well, with that, we shift gears now into the world of business, where we take a look at financial indicators that will give us a sense of how markets fared today in a financial report.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. In the world of sports, the Epilepsy Yellow Half Marathon will be held on February 3rd, 2024 during the official launch of the 4th edition of the Marathon Epilepsy Organization. Director of Operations Abraham Jalinjali said the marathon will start at Somhlolo National Stadium. Eswatini TV, Linda Dlamini has more of that story.
In 2018, the Eswatini Epilepsy Organization launched the first ever edition of the Yellow Epilepsy Half Marathon. The fourth edition of the marathon was today launched at the Olymp Africa offices, where present was the Eswatini Olympics and Commonwealth Games Association Chief Executive Officer Maxwell Jele.
Following the fact that for many years we've also been focusing on short distance sprints, this is a good opportunity therefore for these half marathons to be taking place during this period, whereby we are also looking at unearthing talent that we can groom as the Olympic movement, and top athletes in middle distance running and long distance running.
Speaking on behalf of the Eswatini Athletics President, Toba Mazibuko says the event comes at the right time as it is held at the beginning of the year.
Because our athletes, especially the ones that are elite and not just only social, they really prefer to have events almost throughout the year so that they are kept fit. So having this event really completes the whole calendar. And the fact that it's early in the year, it also helps one to begin with a good resolution.
Eswatini Epilepsy Organization Director of Operations Abraham Chalenchal is emphasizing on the significance of the half marathon.
One will wonder, how does one with epilepsy run? Persons with epilepsy can do anything. It only depends on the gravity of the condition and maybe also how the treatment is going in the person.
Registration deadline is on the 31st of December 2023. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports, I'm Linda Dlamwini with Nelsiwe Ndlangamandla, Lobamba.
Well, with those sports news, we hit to the home stretch of the news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. But before we go, here's a quick reminder of news-making headlines tonight. The People's Parliament commenced at Lutsitini residence following His Majesty's call for the nation's submissions at Sbaeni. Emaswati have made their submissions during the People's Parliament as per His Majesty's command. And the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Communications and Technology, Pesha Dube, says the country is committed to enhancing internet exchange strategies. Beautiful Kingdom of Eswatini, that's how we come to the conclusion of the news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. We shall now cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the rest of the team at Eswatini TV. For now, it's a good night and God bless.